Dannii Minogue is an artist who sadly doesn't get her flowers, considering how great her music is. While she started out as a bubblegum dance pop artist, mainly aimed at a younger demographic, her music became progressively more mature with each release. Her third album, Girl, marked a creative turning point in her career, being a mixture of electronica, trance, and techno music. This laid the groundwork for her music moving forward, and her next album, Neon Nights, would continue in this electropop direction. Released in 2003, Neon Nights is Dannii's most successful record to date, but it almost didn't happen. Dannii was about ready to retire from the music industry after Girl didn't live up to commercial expectations. However, in 2001, DJ Pete Tong asked her to record vocals for a trance song called Stringer. This version with her vocals was called Who Do You Love Now, and it became her comeback song, peaking at number 3 on the UK singles chart and becoming a club hit in the US, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. For good reason too, as Who Do You Love Now is an absolute banger and my personal favorite Dannii Minogue song. The success of the single led to Dannii getting signed to London Records, where she'd create her new album. While it originally was meant to follow Who Do You Love Now's trance sound, it eventually changed to take more inspiration from 80s and house music. Dannii stated in a 2023 interview that she wanted to translate club and underground music to a mainstream pop record, and that's exactly what she did. The second single, Put the Needle on It, wears its early 80s inspiration on its sleeve, being a sexy electronic dance track that was absolutely meant for the clubs. You can really hear the disco inspiration in the song, with its infectious groovy beat. It's one that makes you move whether you want to or not. The video's awesome too, with Dannii literally dancing inside a record player. It doesn't get more literal than this. Everything about this video just screams early 2000s to me. I love it. The third single, I Begin to Wonder, is less disco-inspired and more of a straight-up electropop song. It became another hit for Dannii, and has gone on to become one of her signature songs, if not her actual signature song. It works perfectly as both a club track and a pop song you'd hear on the radio, with its pulsating synth beat and her sexy vocal performance. The fourth and final single, Don't Wanna Lose This Feeling, returned to the disco side of things, with a funky bass line and sparkly production. Another bop that seriously highlights Dannii's ability to blend throwback sounds with contemporary dance pop. The song received a mashup with Madonna's iconic single Into the Groove, titled Don't Wanna Lose This Groove. This was a huge deal, as it was the first time Madonna had ever approved of a mashup using one of her songs. The mashup is a bop, by the way, totally worth checking out. Don't Wanna Lose This Feeling wasn't a hit on the level of the previous singles, but it still managed to reach the top 5 in the UK. The singles from Neon Nights are all amazing, but the deep cuts are just as good, if not even better. Dannii injected so much charm and personality into each track, and the result is a zany, off-the-wall record that's actually a lot stranger than it seems from the outside. The 80s inspiration is evident on songs like For the Record and On the Loop, which are reminiscent of early Madonna, with Dannii's bubbly performance and the synthy production. The song Mighty Fine especially sounds ripped right out of the 80s. If anyone's a Friday the 13th fan, it kind of reminds me of the main theme from Part 3. I don't know, they're both really funky, danceable electro tracks, and they both sound kind of spooky. There's something weirdly unnerving about the music in Mighty Fine, but that's why I love it so much. I especially love how she says zippity day in the chorus. She must have went on Splash Mountain before writing this. Push is another highlight, with a ridiculously catchy chorus, and Dannii providing hilariously sexual backing vocals. The song's meant to be like a phone call, with her literally picking up the phone in the beginning and hanging up in the end. And throughout the whole song, you can hear her speaking through the phone in the background. It's a fun concept for a song, and it's executed perfectly, even though it is a little outdated considering no one uses actual telephones anymore. My absolute favorite deep cut is definitely Vibe On. Not only is it catchy as hell, but it's also about an unholy topic that's very obvious when you read the lyrics. Although I'm not gonna lie, I did not pick up on what the song was about until I made this video. I literally thought the song was about iPods since those were new at the time, and I thought the vibrations she was talking about was supposed to be the music she was listening to. I don't know. All I know is I feel really dumb that this is one of my most played songs, and I didn't understand the extremely unsubtle lyrics until now. Anyways, A Piece of Time is another really fun one, being filled with futuristic sound effects and glitchy electronic production that makes it feel like you're inside an arcade machine. It gives me retro video game soundtrack, which I love. On the trancier side of things, you have tracks like Just Can't Give You Up and Come and Get It, which I firmly believe should have been a single. It works both as a heavy-hitting dance track and an accessible radio song, and Dannii's vocals sound especially pretty in it. The song Nervous is a similarly intense dance track, with spoken vocals sprinkled throughout, and a spoken bridge that give the song a sassy, sexy kind of charm. It was actually a B-side to I Begin to Wonder, along with the song Hide and Seek, which was one of the best on the album in my opinion. The pulsating beat, along with the stretched out delivery of the line, falling down like rain, makes it such a cool track. It's one of those absolutely glorious dance songs that you just have to lose your mind to when you listen to it. The B-side to Don't Wanna Lose This Feeling, called Goodbye Song, is another banger, with some wonderfully petty lyrics against her ex-man. I'd like to say it's been cool, my therapist will thank you, baby, talking won't pay, I've got more to say to the girl who does my nails. I guess you're feeling low, but just get down off that window. You could call me sometime, I think I have a moment in 2029. Well, at least she tried to pencil in some time in her schedule, even if it was 26 years later. The album ends on a relatively slower moment called It Won't Work Out, a genuinely heartbreaking song featuring Dannii's most dejected and devastated performance. It's a nice piece of drama to balance out the upbeat nature of the rest of the album, though I will say I do listen to it the least, since if I'm listening to Neon Nights, I'm usually doing it to shake my ass. The album was reissued multiple times, first in 2007, thankfully with all the B-sides, again in 2018 on vinyl, and in 2023 to celebrate its 20th anniversary. And hopefully this release will attract some new fans. Neon Nights is absolutely deserving of it. Not only is it a tight collection of relentlessly killer dance tracks, but it's also a strange and often bizarre album, filled with little eccentricities and memorable moments. Everything from the futuristic sound effects, the zany production choices, and Dannii's chic yet sassy and over-the-top vocal performance makes this album stick out from other dance albums of the time. The title really sums it up perfectly. Listening to the whole thing feels like one long night out on the town, partying with your friends and being silly under the glow of neon lights. It's truly one of the best and most fun dance records of the 2000s, and one that holds up today. If you haven't heard it yet, definitely get into it. And maybe get your vibe on too if you're feeling a little frisky after.